to Red Shirts Remastered for this episode of Rambling Red Shirts, our second one here. All right, listen, I know we're a little late, but there's stuff that always gets in the way. So we're here now, and let's do all this. I can't wait to get into so many of these discussions that we have lined up for you, and let's just have a good night here covering all these great topics here. And so much fun stuff to talk about. How is all my fellow red shirts doing tonight?
Doing well, good sir. Doing well. It's
That's great to hear. Great to hear.
Gio the Sage signing in as always.
Yes. We have fellow Gio the red shirt. Of course, myself, Spencer the red shirt. How's the other red shirts doing?
I'm freezing cold. As you can see, I got a blanket on. It's cold in here. So. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. And right now we are doing another week of live posts on X this week.
On X this week. That's what we needed to now. Well, don't I have something in weird news related to X? Did I?
We'll probably circle back to that. So we'll move on to that.
We'll might come back to that.
Hey, but secret time there, Patrick. You're not alone in the blanket department.
You're not alone.
I'm normally not freezing while we're recording though, so this is an odd week.
Recording? We're live. What are you talking about?
No, I'm just saying for the show, now. Yeah, I know we're live, but I'm just saying, yeah. Normally, when we record stuff,
put down the cold medicine,
live streams or anything else. Yeah, I'm never this cold, so.
Put down the cold medicine.
Oh, excellent. Let me see here. I need to share this around.
And I'm Chris, the other red shirt.
Yeah. In case you don't know.
If you don't know, now you know.
And if you know,
if you don't,
you know.
Exactly. Well, I guess let's just go ahead and get right into it with our beginning segment, our picks of the week. Anything that we have consumed over the last week, whether it's a game you've been playing that you've really been enjoying, maybe something you read or just watched, movie, TV show, anything. Patrick, have you figured out one? We forgot to ask this beforehand. Patrick, do you have a pick of the channel?
I don't know. I might steal this one from Spencer. We'll see. I got home from work this morning, and instead of going right to sleep, and that literally partially contributed to why we're late tonight, I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh, nice. So you hadn't seen it yet?
I hadn't seen it.
He's the last one of us to watch it all.
Oh my! He hasn't watched Flash.
I really enjoyed it a lot. It was a lot of fun.
I love that movie so much. I
really
loved it so much.
My girlfriend, she loves animals though. So there's so many scenes of that movie with animal abuse and stuff. She's like, I hate this movie. This is terrible.
Yeah, it's rough if you have any empathy for animals, which most of us do.
I don't know. Amber will break for squirrels, and she loved Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It took her on. It gave me a flare. It put my body on such a stressful, emotional roller coaster that I already had a long day. So that also, but it set off a flare. To the point where I couldn't, and it was a bad one.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that takes away from the movie.
No, not at all. It was an amazing movie.
Yeah,
it was annoying that I got a flare after watching such a great movie, but I was like, it was kind of interesting in a scientific manner. It was. I was like, wow, a movie gave me a flare because of how emotionally connected to it I became.
It's great because it's such a huge emotional roller coaster the entire time.
Whole time.
And there's rarely movies that balances that roller coaster so well. And being so connected to just that movie in general is amazing. And I love that movie. It's one of my favorite MCU movies, hands down. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is my favorite Maybe was. I don't know. This one could be my new favorite MCU, honestly. But I love Guardians 1 and 3 is right up close to it. James Gunn just nails the whole team together. I absolutely love it so much.
I still don't know how I feel about the High Evolutionary in the movie.
I thought he was a great villain.
I thought he was kind of a meh villain, but the actor who played him played the crap out of him, dude. He did such a good job. But he wasn't that like intimidating to me until he started blowing up a planet, and they're like, "Okay, you have my attention."
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is he's the whole idea of him wanting everything to be perfect. It was done really well. I really enjoyed. I mean, honestly, there wasn't really anything in that movie that I really disliked. Honestly, I thought it was all done really well. There's a little perfectionist
in all of us. Don't forget that.
Exactly.
Sometimes you got to tell that side of yourself to be like, don't let that take over yourself too much. You know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We're all gonna F it up eventually.
Did you have any other takeaways from that movie, Patrick?
I thought Peter was gonna die for a second, and I was gonna be like all mad. I was like, no!
I thought so too.
Yeah, but how many times did you think other characters were going to die throughout the movie? That was the point. That was that emotional roller coaster.
I thought based off of and thank you guys so much for not leaking information about that movie since I hadn't seen it yet. I really appreciate you guys.
Hey, thank you. A new follower. We got a new follower. Abyss Sans 69.
Abyss, he is over from Kasha's Discord.
Oh, cool.
Thank you very much for coming over and joining us.
Yeah.
As we are recording our second episode here of Rambling Red Shirts.
Yeah.
He just started streaming. He's recently been streaming Borderlands 3.
Ooh.
And so, yeah. Yeah, Kesha is building up a great little community over there on his side, and so we've been linking up and talking and all that. So, thank you so much for coming by. Greatly appreciate it.
Good.
Welcome to Rambling Red Shirts.
And then Darklighters in the chat as well.
Yes. What's up, Andrew?
What's up?
Thank you.
Classic Wolf. 89.
Oh, somebody else over from Castro as well.
Oh,
shit. They're rolling in.
Welcome.
We're rolling in. Thank you.
Thank you. We're just talking about our picks of the week here. You're just in time because we just started.
Yeah, we just started.
Jousting, buddy.
Jousting battle.
Anyway, but yeah. Guardians 3 is such a great movie.
And I like the post-credit scene. The post-credit scene is kind of dope.
Listen, you were talking about Star-Lord almost dying, and I thought, I almost hated that. And then what they did with Star-Lord, I love what they did with Star-Lord. I wasn't expecting them to end with going back and
seeing his dad. Yeah,
his uncle,
his grandfather.
Grandfather.
His mom's dad.
His mom's dad. Right. Yeah. And so seeing that, it was like, awesome. Oh, that's great.
Well,
very touching.
I want them though to do, you know how they did with Thor and they did the apartment living and stuff. I want them to do little shorts like that with his grandfather and him trying to figure out how to live on Earth.
Yeah,
I think it'd be like going to the grocery store. I think would be hilarious. Star-Lord at the grocery store would be hilarious.
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah, Star-Lord files
Star-Lord files his taxes.
Star-Lord, you haven't filed your taxes in 40 years. The IRS wants some of that revenue now.
Star-Lord using GPS to get to the Avengers complex.
Oh yeah, driving.
Yeah, because just like he's trying to drive,
and not roads on that Earth, roads on our Earth.
Our Earth, exactly.
I just got a DM from Disney. Apparently, you two have been hired as the writers for the Star-Lord Disney Plus
show. Excellent.
Hold on.
Pew pew.
Guys, I have breaking news about the show. It looks like we both been fired and AI has already replaced us.
Damn it. Oh well.
All right, who's next for their pick of the week?
Pick of the week? I'll go ahead and go. So because mine is also very much space themed.
Ooh.
However, it is not anything I watch, but it's actually something I read over the past week.
That's right, people.
Ooh.
Folks still read.
Something I
I know.
do.
I still read. I must be a caveman or something.
Or an orc.
And so that is the newest Star Wars novel that has come out in the past week or two, titled Star Wars Inquisitor: Rise of the Red Blade, where you see the journey of one of the Inquisitors, this new character named Iskat Akaris, I believe is her name, and you see like the first 2/3 of her book is her journey through the Clone Wars and how she gains all this distrust with the Jedi and all the Jedi Council and all that. So it's really interesting to see a different kind of downfall in a way compared to Anakin's, and then seeing her become an actual Inquisitor. And it's such a really, I thought it was really well done. Definitely, I think one of the on the better end of Star Wars novels that's come out. It was really well written overall, and really enjoyed the story. And where it actually ends off, well, what it ties into, I should say, is really cool too, because it ties into 2 issues of my favorite Star Wars comic series, and that's of the second Marvel Darth Vader comic series that's written by Charles Soule.
Yep.
And in that comic series, I didn't even think about this until after I read it, but I realized that there's 2 issues in that series that felt really off to me, that felt kind of out of nowhere. And
I think I know what you're talking about.
And this story ties right into those 2 issues. And so it's like, wow, it's like my biggest issue with my favorite Star Wars run just got fixed with that too. And so I really enjoyed this whole that whole novel, setting up new Inquisitors to me, and then seeing how it got tied back into not another book but a comic book. I found really cool, of my favorite Star Wars comics. So yeah, that is my pick of the week. Star Wars Inquisitor: Rise of the Red Blade. Gio, what's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week is a show on HBO, which some of you might be familiar with, is The Righteous Gemstones. So this is a comedy show on, like I said, on HBO. Started back in 2019, and it's created by Danny McBride. So if you're not familiar with Danny McBride, he had some other, I believe, also HBO shows, Eastbound and Down, Vice Principals. He's also been in films such as Pineapple Express, Tropic Thunder, This Is the End. He was in Alien Covenant. But anyway, so the show has a great cast. We've got John Goodman, Adam Devine, Walton Goggins, just to name a few. Just a star-studded cast. And the premise of the show is it's basically John Goodman is like the patriarch of a megachurch, and it kind of pokes fun at the idea of the American megachurches and televangelists and things like that. Now, what I like about it, though, is it's not just there to crap on religion and stuff like that. It pokes fun at the commercialization of it and things like, and because it's based on real things in a sense, but it's a comedy show at heart. So it's not there to make it's not there to be a, how do I put this, like a negative show. It's there for fun, and the writing is done very well. Like I said, we're into the 3rd season now, and the show's still very intriguing. It's one of those shows that's released still on a weekly basis. So at the end of every episode, you're left wanting more. You're wanting to know what's going to happen in the next one. It looks like it's already been renewed for a 4th season as well. I guess this month it just saw that,
yeah.
So that's great. I think for the most part, I can only think of one aspect of the show that I didn't like off the top of my head, but without going into spoilers, I can't really get into it too much. So I guess I'll just say that the overall, if you're into comedy in any respect, I think you can get some enjoyment out of it. So it's one I would definitely recommend to comedy fans. So yeah, HBO Righteous Gemstones, definitely check that out.
Do I see a guest appearance from Jason Schwartzman at one point? I've got pictures going on I'm going through the gallery
so he was in I believe he was in season 2.
Okay,
if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, Danny McBride looks hilarious in this. Oh my gosh, like the way they made him look, and then Walton Goggins, I'm guessing, is like
Walton Goggins is one of the best characters.
I'm guessing he's a whatchamacallit, like a rival.
No, he's basically the brother-in-law of John Goodman's character.
Okay. And
the thing about him is he's always trying to find like some kind of shisty scheme. Like he's not to like he got off on he got popular on his sister's popularity, and then by the time the series starts, his sister has passed away. That's John Goodman's wife. So we're going into a story where things have already happened, and they kind of they go into the backstory as time goes on. But his character is so good every time he's on screen. It's just I just can't even describe how funny he is. So yeah, Walton Goggins steals the show.
Isn't that any Walton Goggins movie? Like Ant-Man and the Wasp, he was the best part.
That's just him. He's never, well, I don't want to say never, because he's had some starring roles, I believe, but he's
usually
he's usually one of the secondary or tertiary characters, and he kills it almost every time. So yeah.
It looks just like
John Goodman. If you haven't seen it, it's I think some people might, though, because of the content or the content of the show, what it's based on, they might be kind of turned off by it. But I can tell you from my personal experience, it's definitely worth your time.
Nice, awesome. And Chris, what about your pick of the week?
Well, my pick of the week is an anime show, believe it or not. I'm not really into anime. I watched it a little bit, but it's on Cartoon Network, a new show.
Technically Adult Swim, but yeah.
I'm with Spencer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, technically, it is Adult Swim, which is a part of Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
So
yes.
on Adult Swim, on Cartoon Network, and My Adventures with Superman. It's 5 episodes in. Yep, 5 episodes in. And it's a really interesting take on the origins of Superman, and the origins on how he met Lois Lane, and basically, yeah, we've had some appearances by.
It's really interesting.
Amanda Waller, Deathstroke. We've obviously the whole ship and thing is very different. Like the whole how he found out about his powers is very, very different than any origin story I've ever seen, and I'm very intrigued by it. Very intrigued. So they're doing a really good job of that.
I thought it was a really nice, fresh take on the origins of Superman. That it was just fresh, but also respected what the Superman's about, and so I've really been enjoying it so far.
Yeah, it definitely makes you want to keep watching, which I guess I've always liked Superman. Generation I grew up in, Superman movies were a huge part of my childhood. And DC was always my first love before the X-Men cartoon came out in the 90s, and so I've always been drawn to Superman as a character. How I think for one of my birthdays as a kid, I had a Superman cake. I remember. And this, though, is a very interesting take on Superman, and that's what I like it.
Agreed.
Before, I'm kind of something we were talking about off air. Actually, I wasn't with you guys talking about it. I heard you guys talking about it. Was the death of Superman, and that was, I remember when that comic came out in the 90s, and then it was a comic I read and loved back then, Steel and all that stuff, and I finally watched the movie, and I was like, man, this does a great job of capturing the essence. And so
I think those are two of the best of the DC.
Yeah, the Reign, and then I watched Reign of Superman right afterwards. I was like, I need to watch right afterwards, obviously. And I was like, wait, is there a third? There's got to be a third. Come on, give me a third. But there was no third.
It's a very well duology.
So I loved all the different takes on Superman. Always loved the different takes on Superman. And so this is another refreshing one. So check it out. It's on Thursday night.
Max.
Right? For Thursday
midnight.
Midnight.
Thursday midnight's on Adult Swim. Next day on Max.
Yep, at like noon or something like that. So.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely a great show. Definitely recommend that. However, most of us also did watch another DC thing that came out in the last week called Justice League War World, which I don't want to spend too much time talking about this, but we all did. Most of us here watched it. Where do we get with this? I think it had a great opening. I thought the first 20 minutes was really good. It begins Wild West. You have, not saying too much. It's this whole Wild West sequence with Wonder Woman, and you also get Jonah Hex on it. I mean, all those characters are shown on the cover. And so you had a great opening sequence. And then after that, the movie goes really downhill. But where the movie ends off, I find very interesting because it leads in. Not gonna quite say how, because the movie just did come out, but it leads right into the next DC Universe movie that comes out. Or actually, technically, Tomorrowverse movie is their title, as this universe is titled, and that is Crisis on Infinite Earths. But yeah,
it's interesting. I kind of had a different. You said like your favorite was the first 20 minutes, which was like the Wild West kind of scene, and that was like my least favorite part of it, to be honest.
Interesting,
because while I was watching it, of course, you go in without really I didn't watch a trailer or anything, so I had no idea what was going to happen. Yeah, and going into it, I had I guess I had mentioned this on the last episode, where I had watched almost all of the Tomorrowverse films prior to this. The only one I didn't see was the Green Lantern one, which I still might go back and watch. And I enjoyed them all to different degrees. But then going into this one, the first 20 minutes, I was just kind of bored to tears. I was like, first of all, it's, I guess, I don't know how much I want to say, because like you said, it just, just come out. So I don't want to spoil it too much, but,
I'm showing images, but I mean, they don't tell a story.
But I was, because I think the way the film goes is it lets you, as time goes on, it reveals more and more of what's happening, which obviously makes sense. Yeah. But when you're a little confused at first, and you're like, why is this happening? And then because of the setting, I was just like, when is this going to end? I just don't care, because I knew it didn't really have any consequence to anything. But that being said, then as time goes on, then you start to reveal what's happening and why they're in these situations that they're in the different settings. And it was what I found interesting about it is that it was. Let's see, I have the Wikipedia up here. So it was directed by we don't know how to pronounce his name, Jeff Wamister, if I'm saying that right. But he also did the Justice Society World War II, and he did the Green Lantern one, and he did Legion of Superheroes. Now, what I thought was interesting was, in my opinion, the best two of the Tomorrowverse were Superman Man of Tomorrow, the first one, which is great, and then the Batman Long Halloween, which was great as well. Now, those two, three if you count the two parts of Long Halloween, they were all done by, directed by Chris Palmer and written by Tim Sheridan. And all the ones by Jeff Wamister had various different writers, and I think all of these guys, kind of in a collective, have taken on different roles in each of these films, right? But I felt like those two, the Superman and the Batman ones, were superior to the other one. So I mean, you can't say for sure that. Oh, just heard that. I don't know if. Sorry, you can't say for sure that had to do with why that they were better. It could have just been my personal preference, right? But I feel like that they changed their tone a little bit going into some of the other films, and maybe that was a direction internally where they're like, okay, we want to go in a specific direction with this series, right? And
I mean, the universe is so wide, so
So I think
understand why they don't want to try to do certain aspects.
Yeah, I felt like that may have factored into it. I think one of the big things was I was hoping for. We haven't had a actual Justice League team up prior to this, right? So we haven't seen in the Tomorrowverse all of the Justice League being the Justice League. Yes, and that was my point there.
Confusing the way they did it.
That's kind of such like my big problem with it is that it's used more of a. It's such a weird way to inevitably set up Crisis.
Yeah.
Without saying too much, it's like it's. Knowing that it goes into Crisis is such a weird way to set it all up. And I feel like because of where it ends, I feel like the whole Crisis story is really going to be rushed. And it has me very concerned on how that movie is going to turn out.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up because that was the big problem with the Snyderverse, right? Was that they just rushed into things too quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of.
I feel like that's what they're doing here as well.
Now, if you look at the all the films in the Tomorrowverse, they've kind of done those time jumps in between each one, where if you go to how do I put this? Yeah, they all cut into things where you've missed big chunks of story that we haven't gotten to see. So it remains to be seen with how they're going to handle that with Crisis. For sure. That being said, I'm still looking forward to that. I got more excited knowing that Crisis is going to be part of that Tomorrowverse.
It's interesting that you say that because I don't. There was James Gunn commented on those announcements because somebody asked and noticed that above both the Crisis on Infinite Earths announcement and Watchmen announcement that it says DC Universe movie above it, which is or DC Universe movie. Which is interesting because people are like, "Wait, isn't that what they're calling the new movies?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's a mistake."
Or is it
fixed?
Or is
it? Like in terms of the name, like the name for them?
It's like it's gonna be. He's saying it's gonna be all part of the connected universe, but he's trying to hide that part it's not. He's trying to say it's not. He's trying to hide that
not
it is
meant to be.
You think it's a typo and bad marketing, and they copy and paste it and stuff.
Here's their problem is. As Gio's been calling them, is they're all part of the Tomorrowverse. Which is nowhere on the boxes do they say it's part of this Tomorrowverse series.
Yeah, this is a problem that DC's had for a long time, where that's a fan name, the Tomorrowverse, right? Based on after the Man of Tomorrow, because that was the first film in the series.
Yep.
But this is what the problem that they've always had is that they've kind of left it up to the fans to come up with a term for their overarching universes. So they've kind of continued that here for some reason.
Yeah, we'll probably see it restructured to where it's titled more like an Elseworlds animated movie, because it's not connected to what's going on in James Gunn's DCU.
Exactly.
But
he'll say Elseworlds on the box set.
It would, yeah.
Exactly.
It will, yeah. Lobo was great until towards the end, and so it was disappointing how they finished him off. Not finished him off in that sense, you know what I mean?
That was stupid.
But how they ended him. I
was just going to say, have you been reading the chat? Because that sounds like what Abyss was just talking about in the
chat. Yeah, no, I wasn't. Lobo popping up was great, and then it's like, oh, okay, what it turned into in between him and Mongol. I disliked Mongol's design in that movie very much. But other than that, that's all I have to say about the movie. However, we do have other DC stuff to talk about. We also got a comment from Gal Gadot where she spoke to comicbook.com of all places.
Of all places.
Talk about possibly the future of all places, right? Right. This clickbaity site, she actually got a comment with, talk to with them.
Hold on. Actually, exclusive. See, exclusive. Unless they're lying,
right,
but
exclusive,
I don't think
exactly.
they would lie about that. They would get in a lot of trouble if they lied about that.
Yeah.
Oh no! We're just gonna keep pumping out more fake articles.
Anyway, she talked with them, and there's this quote that I have here to where she says, speaking about Wonder Woman, she says, "It's so close to and dear to my heart. From what I heard from James and from Peter, is that we're going to develop a Wonder Woman 3 together." And so this is a new update from her saying that Wonder Woman 3 is happening. Gal Gadot is going to be, supposedly, according to her, she is going to be the Wonder Woman of this DCU, this whole new James Gunn DC universe. So we're gonna have a whole new Wonder Woman movie set within this new universe, with Patty Jenkins not involved. It'll be a completely different creative team behind it.
Very interesting.
Which, I mean, yeah, I find it really interesting. I'll say my thoughts on it right now is I'm honestly kind of mixed on it, because the biggest thing for me is where I don't mind some of the smaller characters being kept. Like a lot of the Suicide Squad people, I think it's fine, because a lot of those characters are more minor characters in the grand scheme. But whenever you have the Trinity, we're having a new Batman, to be determined who. We're having a new Superman, played by David Cornsweet. And now we're having a Wonder Woman that's kept from the Snyderverse. And that, I feel like, is going to be weird. And yeah, so, yeah.
It kind of...
it's my feeling on it.
Yeah, it's interesting, because it seems like that was part of the motivation for changing the actors. Like, the fans, definitely, a large percentage of them wanted a Cavill Superman, and like they said they were going to do, right? And then you can understand... Like I can kind of accept their motivation for wanting to change that, but then it's like, okay, well then why did you keep Gal Gadot? And I can see an argument for it, but it kind of hurts that a little bit when you say that you're going to go in a whole new direction and then you keep one of the main characters.
100%. Like, don't get me wrong, she is a fantastic Wonder Woman.
Sure,
but I just don't feel like she should be who still is Wonder Woman when all the other main two are new people.
That does, yeah, that's an interesting situation. Unless they did it as an Elseworlds.
Well, no,
you know
but that's not what
why would you do a Wonder? They're not. They're saying, well, they're developing developing Wonder Woman 3 together. So do they consider the Snyderverse as Elseworlds? So maybe they are. Maybe it is Elseworlds.
I don't see them continuing the Snyderverse in any way when they're wanting to get away from
I agree with that's weird. It is very weird about this.
It's a weird situation, and if this is true, this is going to be my number one biggest concern / dislike of what they're going to be doing with the DCU if this is actually happening.
So I wonder if in Wonder Woman 1, Patty didn't have full control, correct? As far as I've heard,
I think she co-wrote it with somebody else.
She co-wrote it, but Wonder Woman.
It's what it was.
84. Wonder Woman 84 was all her, and like she was shot down. The rumors are that she was shot down about her Superman movie, and so it was supposed to be her Superman movie. The whole thing with her flying and stuff. Like she wanted like the whole like flying through the sky and being marveled about flying. That Patty wanted a Superman movie. They didn't give it to her. I don't look at Wonder Woman 84 as Gal Gadot's fault at all. So you can do it in a way that like, oh well, she's I guess demigod, So I mean, in different universes, a demigod is still going to be the same essentially. That's how you could twist it to me. Which
maybe
if it's written well and the characters around it, you bring back Chris Pine somehow just to like in flashbacks. just because well he disappeared. I can't even remember Wonder Woman 84. He disappeared at the end, right? He died. What happened to him at the end?
Because it was like in 84 is remember the whole thing was
it was a different guy. It was a different guy.
So
that's right.
Different guy.
It turned back into the other guy. That's right.
Yeah, she literally possessed his body.
Yeah.
That was the worst part of
so,
that film.
Bring back, like, flashbacks to Chris Pine just because he was one of the better parts of... But, yeah, if it's written well, I think that Gal Gadot can be still a good Wonder Woman. It's just that it has to be written properly to explain how she is the same one from the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
It has to be written perfectly. Otherwise, people will hate it. Or not necessarily hate it, but the bigger fans will see right through it.
Yeah,
or
no,
they'll
that's
give some
kinda
crap
like my big
about, oh, you
concern.
kept her and put her in a, you know,
Yeah, but you didn't keep Cavill, blah 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 blah.
you didn't keep Cavill, and
Mm.
she still ended up in a shitty movie, you know, something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. But that's not saying anything about David Corn Sweat.
No, not
when
at all,
Spencer
not
and
at
I
all.
were looking at like some of the guys, candidates who were up for the role, and I looked at images of it. I was like, that's the one that could play Clark Kent and Superman, and he got the look, and he got it. I was we picked right, we guessed right, you know, because we had said we had to guess to be this guy.
Spencer sent me that.
We guessed right.
Spencer's like, I think it's
really.
gonna be the guy, and it was the guy.
Yep.
It was that guy. Yeah. I'm really glad for him. But yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited for him.
Any other thoughts on this Wonder Woman stuff at all, though?
I don't think so. No, I'm good. And anybody else?
No.
Just keep an eye out on this one. This one will develop into some more stuff. So.
Yes, exactly.
Definitely.
Hopefully they'll give us some more clarity over the next few months.
I'm hoping this means that, because my last thing on this is, I wonder how long ago she heard something. It's like, maybe they were talking about, well, yeah, maybe we could make our own Wonder Woman 3, but maybe since then, without telling her, maybe they're considering it and haven't told her yet, of being like, well, maybe we are doing a new Wonder Woman. And that's all.
Hey, Matthew Coburn in the chat. Great to see you, Matthew Coburn.
What?
It's great to see you, Matthew Coburn.
Almost like you're here every single
time.
Like
you're, a
like
very important person for
Right.
this channel, just like a
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment.
Person. And let's see here. How do I spell it? I want to make sure I spell it right. That's O'Neill with 2 L's, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So
yes. No. Well.
Yes.
Well, no. That's a joke. That's a Stargate joke. So then it's O'Neill with 2 L's because there's an O'Neill with 1 L, and he blah blah. I forget exactly what it is, but it's a big running joke in Stargate that Richard Dean Anderson does. It's really great. Of course, I can't see because I'm blind. I thought, did I spell it right? O'Neill P90. Why can I not find you? I guess I can do it like this, huh? I can do it like this probably.
Ooh.
No, I can't.
No.
I can't.
All right. Anyway.
All right, well, continue to the next thing, and I'll find them.
Let's move on.
So this next thing is something that me and Patrick are going to be helming here, and that's where yesterday, for all of the Star Wars book nerds, at the end of this month, they're releasing a new Star Wars novel titled "Star Wars: Return of the Jedi" from a certain point of view, that has 40 short stories in it. Now, they've already done this for A New Hope.
I know why.
And Empire Strikes Back, where it sees the events of the movie, but from a certain point of view. So it expands on another part of the movie from that somebody's point of view. And so we're seeing that again with Return of the Jedi. Of 40 other short stories. And they've done little descriptions for every single one. We're not going to go through every single one, but I want to at least go through, we want to at least go through and highlight some of the big ones that at least stuck out to us. And there's lots of interesting ones, such as there's all sorts of different ones that highlight different Imperials here.
That's the big one I've noticed from this series, is just getting into the Imperial mindset, where they literally sit down and they write what they're thinking. It's so interesting. It's made this book series like so much better. And it's theoretically, these are not canon; they are kind of pseudo canon, because they are different perspectives from a list of multiple writers all over the industry. So they're all writing their take on that character and then basing it off of what happens in the movie. So when they started it with the New Hope book, that it could potentially be canon, but at the same time it's also very much up for interpretation. So
that's a good point.
It's a fun read.
Going back to the
fun read.
Going back to the Imperials, it's really interesting because then we watched this through the lens of like, oh yeah, we want the good guys to win, right? So seeing the same story that we know with the lens of the other side is interesting. But then there's all sorts of other perspectives here of other characters that we get to see that's going to be expanded upon with this, especially this new Return of the Jedi novel. I'm just going to go ahead and go through here, talk about some of the other stories that's come up. If there's any big ones or any that I missed, Patrick, that you want to bring up, feel free to.
Give me the ones like give me the number for it so I can pull up the picture. You know what I'm talking about? In the top right corner, there's a number for each one. So give me the number.
The first one that sticks out to me is the second one.
All right, I got it up. Look at that.
Which is a Max Rebo story. We get a story all about Max Rebo.
Dude, he was just.
I love it.
He got so much love in Book of Boba Fett.
He does.
I want to know what the musician does on a day-to-day basis. Absolutely.
Right, and if you scroll down a couple of
band. And then what was it?
Yes,
I think it was
they did.
New Hope book.
In A New Hope, they did do the Cantina band. Yes.
Yes.
That was great. But yeah, you see all sorts of other stories from different people. Like if you scroll down a couple there, story 4 is about Bib Fortuna.
I can't wait to read that because now you and I have actually met the guy who played Bib Fortuna.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. Story 6 is about Yeah, oh, that's true. Story 6 is about Malachiles.
Yeah, Malachiles.
The Rancor Keeper.
Yeah.
Scroll down one. We get a Boba Fett story, so it'll be interesting to see Boba Fett's downfall from his perspective.
When he goes,
let's see here. Down another one. It's one of the skiff guards. You remember that big famous scene, with the Jedi? It's where you get the perspective of one of the skiff guards. Go down another, and we get to see a salacious.
Yes!
Where he air kicks. They're actually going to include that in the story.
Right.
They don't say his name in the description, huh?
I don't.
They
don't.
Name?
Scion?
No.
The way Scion saw it.
Oh, I thought you said
it says in the description.
No, I was at number 9. I'm on number 9.
Oh, 9 is Salacious B. Crumb's story.
Salacious B. Crumb, and his name's not mentioned in it at all.
Interesting, but the monkey lizard. Yeah, but we get a whole story about the monkey lizard.
Yeah,
which is great.
Go down size noodles.
We see a size noodles.
I love it. He's a
go down. Another next one is about we get the story of the Sarlacc.
Oh my gosh!
From
the view of the Sarlacc, how that's going to be about? Okay, that better be written as well as Castaway. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Scroll down a bit. I mean, we see different ones of other things. But 14 is one that stands out to me of where it's about Obi-Wan. So we get a story about the Force Ghost Obi-Wan. That's the thing. Yeah, Force Ghost Obi-Wan.
Is this
after Obi-Wan is one about Mon Mothma?
Yep.
Which that's going to be cool because Mon Mothma's coming back in
what you call it, Obi-Wan and Kenobi.
Yeah.
And Ahsoka, yeah.
She is coming back in Ahsoka too?
Oh, yeah, she's in Ahsoka, yeah.
Interesting.
And this is
a flashback,
though?
Maybe?
I don't know because
Mon Mothma's dead, isn't she?
I haven't heard that.
I feel like she'd be dead by now.
I think theoretically in the canon, she's dead later on, close to the events, right a few years before Force Awakens.
Okay.
Because she gets, if I recall, in the canon, in the book Bloodline, that takes place 6 years before Force Awakens, and that focuses on like an older Princess Leia. And they mention in the book how I think she starts like Mon Mothma is starting to get ill, and they're considering. Because there's like a whole election that takes place in that book. They're trying to elect the next person to take over for the New Republic because she gets sick, and everybody looks up to Mon Mothma, kind of like as a presidential figure.
Gotcha.
And so she takes a step down, and I'm thinking it was for her, if I recall, it's because she was in poor health. So I think
she became
before Force Awakens, she dies.
Successors lacked her charisma, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, everyone says anyone who would succeed her wasn't going to have enough charisma. So she's not quite like a Trumpian figure in the Star Wars world, but she's kind of got like that little charisma factor when it comes to politics.
That's right. We saw her in the trailer at this one point.
Yeah, she's in the trailer for holograms.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if I see that picture now, and I remember.
I'm wondering when in the timeline that takes place. If that's during the OT or if that's like
no, that'd be.
during the Mandiverse
It's talking
time.
about the New Republic here, is what I'm reading. So it's all. I think it's all tied into the main thing.
That's gonna be weird because it's gonna be post Return of the Jedi, and because she always played the younger Mon Mothma, whereas Caroline Blankiston played the original.
It could lead into her being sick too. It could lead into her downfall because that could be all around the same time.
They won't be that far in the timeline. Now they might start showing like early like something's going on with her.
But anyway, let's go ahead and move on.
I think it's only like a 15
other big.
or 20 years later.
Well, we can scroll down. We can scroll down on the side here and see like there's some other ones. There's a couple of Ewoks.
Several other ones that I think is lots of Ewok ones.
Here, this one that stood out to me.
I can't wait for the Wicked story.
22
Emperor and 28.
22 is
Akbar. Oh yeah, Akbar. 28 we have Emperor.
Oh, cool.
The other big one that stood out to me is if you go down to near the end, 37 and 39 are the big two that stand to me. Oh, and 40 is big too.
37 is... Dexter Jester.
We get to see Dexter, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be great to see what's been up with Dexter around this time. 39, we get to see something about the Empire breaking apart and more the forming of the First Order, which is always an interesting story point to me.
Yeah.
Which is something they don't touch on a whole lot. They've kind of teased at it, but that's cool because now they're setting that up.
Return of the Wills.
That's gonna tie directly in with Battlefront 2, the video game.
What? Return
Journal
of
the Wills, the complex. Yes.
Return of the Wills. What? They're bringing the Wills
and so
back?
anyway,
oh my god,
lots of interesting stories, and this comes out later this month. I'll check it out sometime, probably not right away because I still have to read the Empire Strikes Back one.
I'm trying to see what day does Ahsoka. When does Ahsoka come out?
Here's the
week before that, I think.
August 23rd. So yeah, we're gonna get the first 2 episodes. No, I think 3 episodes. First 2 will be out. I think it drops like right before episode 3. So around the same time as episode 3 drops on Disney Plus, we will have
an Audible version of it. That could be.
Oh
fun
yeah,
to
they go,
to.
dude. They go all in on the Audible.
That could be fun to listen to.
Yeah,
they do. I know. I've started to listen to the Thrawn books a little bit. I just haven't had time.
I heard the Thrawn ones are really well done.
Yeah, lots of stuff to look forward to from the world of Star Wars books. But you want to know something that's kind of crazy that's coming out? That's kind of wacky that's also coming out?
What's that? What's wacky?
That? Of what just had a Kickstarter that launched within the past few days, I believe, is a Call of Duty. Call of Duty, the board game, is a thing. I kid you not.
It's a
thing.
Yeah,
Call of Duty, the board game.
I haven't watched the trailer. Has anybody else not watched the trailer?
I haven't watched it either.
I haven't either.
So this is on Kickstarter.
This is on Kickstarter.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is on Kickstarter. It's really interesting because they have like 2 different packs. There's like a blue edition or a red edition you can get, and it determines what characters you get. Like Shepard and Ghost is part of the red edition, and Price and what's his name? Makarov, one of the Russian characters. Makarov is part of the blue edition.
I would definitely get the red edition for sure.
Or you can get another edition that combines both of those. So it looks interesting. And each of those have different maps and weapons and stuff. So it seems. I was making fun of it at first, and now looking at it, it's like this doesn't look like that bad of a game. I mean, it looks like it's kind of simple-ish.
All right, I'll buy it and I'll scan it in to Tabletop Simulator.
No, people will do that. As soon as
as soon as it drops. Yeah,
as soon as it drops because it's so
72
big.
72 custom dice. What do you need 72 dice for? What
I noticed though, they have goals that goes up all the way to 500,000, but they're
let's see here.
For something with Call of Duty, I feel like it's lower than what it should be.
I might pledge.
So is this Abyss brings up a good point in the chat. Is this official from Activision?
Yes.
Or is this like a licensed product?
Licensed.
Yes.
Okay, licensed product. Activision.
Made by Arcane Wonders.
Arcane Wonders. I'm not familiar with them.
Based out of Texas, it looks like. But yeah,
interesting.
Activision is in the top left corner.
Oh yeah, based in Texas. Yeah. So it is.
It's definitely. And Activision in the bottom right corner of the YouTube video for trailer number 3. So.
And it's being done by you said Arcane Wonders.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm intrigued. Man, why do you need so many dice?
Yeah, I mean,
I want to know.
I feel like the boards though, it seemed kind of simple. So like it doesn't look like it could be that complex to me. Because it looks like it's a matter of just look at your gun stats, roll, and see if you shoot or not, out of moving from very specific points of the board and seeing if like your shots line up. So that's just what it looks like upon first impressions. But I just find it really funny that it's Call of Duty, the board game.
And there's an expansion already. Kruger and Iskra. There's already a $20 expansion.
Yeah. Didn't you guys know that
there's 2 expansions, 3 expansions?
Yeah, there's all sorts of expansions.
4
expansions. It's already getting that model.
There's a Conquest
it already has
Games
the Warzone model.
Is this like a I'm just scrolling down.
Oh,
Keep scrolling down.
Yeah.
With Checkmate, a former terrorist train. It's like it's like what you call it, Risk, but smaller, you know.
So
like,
are those stretch goals, or is that just the
no? You can buy them. Yeah.
No, other stuff, other add-ons you can get.
Yeah. Canine promo.
So this is the Kickstarter. All this stuff will be more readily available once it fully comes out too. Because something like this won't just be Kickstarter.
Here are the stretch goals.
You'll see all this in your tabletop games. Lots of stretch goals. I do think that it's not going to reach probably the top couple.
It's reached
because it's not doing so great right now.
It's reached the top. Oh, the top is 500,000 shield turret kill streak. At 400,000, they'll add an RCXD kill streak.
Shout out to
300,000 4 times mini flags, and there's a bunch of other stuff too. Sentry turret kill streak. They've got unlocked the Juggernaut kill streak.
Yeah,
but not
lots of Call of Duty stuff. Like even for me, that's not a big somebody that's not as big into Call of Duty. It looks like they are going through a lot of like things that people know from Call of Duty, and so it's cool. It's interesting. Like I don't know about this being a great game, but like it looks simple, or not simple, but like it doesn't look too complex. Definitely a little bit pricey, but such an interesting idea for a board game, and we'll see how it turns out.
Don't forget, you're probably paying Microsoft for that licensing. That's why
you're right.
Because it's an Activision deal, and who knows? Like maybe with it changing hands, they might be like trying to figure out like the price point. It might be changing or something. I don't know.
No, not in the way as far as
I don't
this
think
goes.
so.
The way tabletop manufacturing goes is it's all about cost effectiveness with how many tokens and stuff you're having them make, and the important thing to note about what does raise the price of these is the fact of a lot of these minis are pre-painted, and so to have pre-painted minis, especially for this detail, that costs some right there. That's a good big cost. Not just a basic basic unpainted minis can cost like $5 to $10 each. These are painted ones, and several of them. So that's one of the big driving cost factors.
$25, $30 per figure.
And then having 36 dice and all these score trackers and tokens and all that, it all ties in together. The amount of components seems like your reasonable basic what you get from a tabletop game. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. And if it ever hits tabletop sim, maybe we'll stream it.
Yeah, absolutely. Austin in the chat. What's going on, man?
Hey,
what's up?
We were just Spencer and I were actually brought you up earlier because there's a game we want you to check out. Spencer should have sent it to you already.
I didn't send it to you. I'm such a terrible person. Austin.
Fail.
Utter fail. I'll shoot it your way right now because I have the link right here.
Natty 1, anybody?
They're talking about Yahtzee in the chat now. Now they're talking about Yahtzee. I love it. Talking about
I love Yahtzee. Hey, anybody roll a
I do
Yahtzee?
too. I haven't played
That's what
Yahtzee
I
in
need to
forever.
know.
That OG shit.
I can go to there. You can probably find like a website that you can play Yahtzee on. I'm sure. Hold on,
Oh, it's so
I got
easy.
this.
You just need a few dice, and we can all play together.
No,
We got to do
I got
Yahtzee
it.
night. Red
I
shirts
already got
Yahtzee
it.
night.
Yeah, we're right here.
Yahtzee
Look,
night.
right here.
Oh,
we got it right here.
You just need what is it? You need 5 dice and a
Multiplayer.
scorecard. That's it.
That's funny. That's funny.
Now, does it do digital
Alright.
dice rolls, or do you do your own dice rolls and
It's
input?
digital, of course. It's
Okay.
digital.
It's all part of it. It's not hard to program in.
You're telling me the
dice
computer's gonna cheat?
I will say
There's
this.
actually
I
someone
will say
else
this.
playing this right now. Or their name was Babs. I was scared. So I'm just gonna click roll dice though. Here. Nope, no Yahtzee. Keep going. Come on. I can get a Yahtzee, damn it. Damn it. Let's see how
Looks
long
like
it
I'm
takes.
rolling for 3s, boys.
Select your move by clicking a cell on your scorecard. Chance.
You just put it right in chance.
The rain
That must
chance.
not have been a very good roll.
No, it was not.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Well, good to know. Anyway, that's so funny. All right. Anyway, next bit of news
This was
is
gripping.
Let's start
Next
with
bit of
the
news. Session.
yes.
Is that well, not only is our favorite group of 4 turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, has a new movie that just came out today, but they're also crossing over into a couple games, the first of which is Session. Again, I'm not familiar with this game, but you have it, right, Chris?
I actually own it on Steam,
Session.
believe it or not. Yeah, it's a skateboarding
You own it
game.
on
I'm
Steam.
not so I bought it a while ago to support it when they were in early access. Not a huge fan of the control scheme, but it's one I have to get used to. But I will definitely, absolutely check it out when they, with this. It's already out, I believe. Or is there a release date? Let's see in the.
Oh, look. It's funny, though, because it's like you're in the sewers here and you're just skateboarding as the turtles, which is nice.
It looks
I
like a
it.
character skin at first, and then the more you look at it, you're like, they did like full like modeling and everything on these guys.
I noticed that they go after like the new versions of the turtles too, so it's nice like skinny versions of them to easily bring into the game. And so I do appreciate that. They look nice though. I mean,
yeah.
Hey, being as turtles in it, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says a free update available now, and this came out.
Yeah.
The trailer is supposed to be
The
yesterday.
eyes are a little
so,
weird. The eyes are
the eyes look a little wacky when I first saw them.
Yeah,
but they've kind of got like the bigger eye look, and I'm wondering if that just came out of the movie.
Donatello eyes, I think. Well, it's Donatello without his glasses. Is that what that was?
I saw him with his wait.
I saw him with and without, I think.
Like, so maybe you can choose. You pick and choose.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
does he wear his glasses?
I see that.
Yeah.
What?
So it's weird, huh?
Like, no, I see him there with it on.
He has with and without.
What
I'm saying he has with and without.
I didn't see it without, but
really?
I'll see.
The big eyes. The one with the big eyes.
What point was
Isn't
it that you were?
Or is that? Yeah, no, it's not Leonardo. It's definitely Donatello.
What's the
look
timestamp you're looking
27 seconds. Oh,
yeah,
he
no,
has the glasses
he
on.
has glasses.
I
it's
see
just it's just not as obvious there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. First glance, it's not. But yeah. Turtles are in session. That's all. Turtles are in session now. Go skateboard as turtles. Go skateboard as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
It almost makes me wonder if they had approached like the team at what was it, Visceral or whatever that did Tony Hawk.
No.
And they were like, "Hey, can you put him in Tony Hawk?" And
well, here's the thing, though, is they haven't touched any of those games in a while.
Visceral doesn't exist anymore.
I forgot. They don't exist. They made that game and then went defunct.
Yeah,
I forgot.
they put them into like it's like Activision Buffalo or something like that, or something weird, some city.
Somebody knew somebody at Session and was like, "Yo, can we put the turtles in?"
Yeah, it's interesting as far as how that came about, but we do have turtles in something else as well.
Something big.
I was about to say a way bigger game.
Way bigger.
Of Minecraft, the newest of
world
of all these
realm.
Yeah, this looks actually really good.
A whole new world.
Yeah,
this is more of the classic Turtles feel too.
I think I'm down.
Yeah.
Like, look at this.
This looks fun. We could each be a turtle, maybe.
Exactly. Yes. And there's April.
Yeah, you can ask the rest of these guys. I literally considered buying a new copy of Minecraft just to play this.
Yes.
To play Turtles?
Yeah, just to play this Turtles DLC.
Game Pass.
Well, because for me, it's like if it was just turtle skins, then I'd be like, whatever. That's
so much.
But the fact that this is a whole mini game. Like, there's like I think they said 8 bosses or something.
Yes. Yeah, and they do this. Like Spencer was saying earlier.
They've been doing this recently in the past year or two. A lot of them.
There was a recent.
They've done a whole Star Wars world.
Yes.
They've done Jurassic World, Batman, Disney. They just announced today as well that they're doing another Disney one as well.
Cool.
So like the first one was like part of a Disney park you explore. This next one is part of like going into the different Disney princess worlds. I think they did it in Incredibles. I don't remember. Right, no, I think Incredibles was just a skin pack. Never mind.
Available now. Yeah, I mean,
they've done a Pac-Man themed world. They've done Sonic themed world. So they've been they have a SpongeBob themed world that you can go through. So there's a lot. And this new Turtles. I mean, it's another cool addition that maybe we'll stream. I mean, we're talking a lot about it. So
damn it, Spencer. You know, we were talking about playing Gotham Knights tonight, and I didn't realize this was available now.
Yeah.
It's tempting, man.
Well, that means one of us have to buy it, though. That's the thing.
That's what I'm down. Dude, did I stutter?
Because only one. So the thing is,
only one of us have to have it. Well, for that, for the skins,
it's just the other person won't be the skins.
That's the thing. You have to get the skin.
But still.
No, well, yeah.
But still, just all being able to play through it would be awesome.
True. Well, can you buy the skins separately? I wonder.
No,
so you could just
no.
Okay.
You have to buy the whole thing. Yeah.
Whole thing. It's what, like 13.
But the whole thing's only $8.
Oh, $8?
$10.
Okay.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah. But newest crossovers there now. Cool. Yeah, I think it's a really cool collab, and there's lots of other maps. I own a few too that we could easily play. So maybe we'll do some Minecraft streams sometime. Who knows?
And then just what was it, a few weeks ago, we were getting the new skins for Shredder's Revenge as well.
You're right.
Yeah. All new
that's just all at once, man. They're slamming.
Turtles fans are eating well this week.
Well, they've been eating well since the movie Shredder's Revenge came out. Because you had Shredder's Revenge.
This week in particular, though, was great. You have a whole new movie, 2 new collabs.
Exactly, I was going to say the Cowabunga Collection. Cowabunga Collection came out last year.
Yeah, Cowabunga Collection.
Yeah. Man.
But yeah.
And then they're still making comics on top of that, you know?
Yeah, there's this movie, there's a sequel, the's a TV show, then another movie that supposedly they're working on right now. So there's
lots
a lot.
Lots of stuff.
Turtles are
There's a Last Ronin video game in the making.
I forgot about that.
I heard about that.
Man, that could be amazing if they do it right.
And yeah, it was gonna be like a third-person action game, like action platformer kind of game.
If they do that, like the Spider-Man,
they said more akin to God of War.
God of War, but in Manhattan. In the new Manhattan setting, you know,
it would work really well,
or whatever. I forget what.
If they did it like God of War, it'd just be awesome because you could switch between using all the different turtles' weapons as one turtle. And so, if they do it right, it could be awesome. So we'll see what happens. Just crazy to see how much God of War really changed like the narrative scale of games in general. Because God of War set a really awesome high bar as far as that sort of narrative storytelling. And so we'll see if they can pull off somewhere even close to it. Because saying it's going to be like God of War is a very high bar right there. But we'll see what happens with it. But yeah. Lots of Turtles stuff. Turtles and gaming. And let's talk about some other gaming news here. Where a game I'm personally really interested in that's coming out sometime next year is Path of Exile 2. We got an awesome trailer for it 2 months ago at Summer Games Fest, right? Is that where it was? Was that Summer Games Fest or was it somewhere else?
I believe so, yes. Summer Games Fest.
That sounds
or
right
the PC game. No, because it's console as well.
Somewhere we saw...
Summer Games Fest.
Somewhere we saw... I think so. Yeah. But anyway, we saw Path of Exile 2 trailer. And this weekend, welcome Castro in the house. And anyway, so Path of Exile, they have their own little con going on known as Exile Con that happened over the weekend on Friday and Saturday. And so they had, I believe, is like 2 4-hour long streams for each of the days. So they covered lots of details. However, there's some highlights as to it, such as I'm talking about that now Path of Exile 2 is going to be a full standalone sequel, where first it was just going to be a massive expansion to Path of Exile 1. However, that's not the case anymore, as they're now different games, and now Path of Exile 2 is now going to have completely new campaign, entirely new monsters, skills, mechanics, classes, everything you want for, as they say, in the next generation of Path of Exile. And a huge revamp of what they call League content, which is their version of Seasons. And so they're really hyping this up as being such a bigger version, such a bigger and new version of Path of Exile with new mechanics and all that. So yeah, so they're saying it's going to be 2 different games now that you can play with their own mechanics that's different in between each, balances in between each of them, in games and leagues, which are seasons, essentially. And what I find really cool too is that both of these games now are they going to be shared across the same platform. So now both games are going to be fully supported with microtransactions, which obviously is, they're free-to-play games, to where any purchases that applies to one game will carry over to the other game, unless if it's specific to that game.
That's unheard of.
That is crazy cool that they're doing that.
Crazy, amazing cool.
So really cool that they're making Path of Exile into a platform and making it into 2 separate games. And what I'm seeing from this is what I've heard about from some people that really like Path of Exile is that first game is known to be you build up your character and you run around super fast, completely obliterating things, versus Path of Exile 2 looks more like Diablo 4 to me, to where they're doing a little bit of a slower take on it. That I guess is meant to be, I don't know, completely different mechanics, so it'll feel different while still being the same kind of game. So hearing that, because my biggest thing with it, and I think me and you, Chris, were both kind of the same idea here of where Path of Exile 1, it's like, yeah, it's free to play, but we have so much other stuff to play. And with 2 coming out, what's the point, right? Well, 2 isn't coming until sometime next year.
June 2024, they said closed beta.
Right. So we're not getting into for almost an entire year for the beta.
Yeah. So we'll find time for this. Sure.
So we're going to be, so I'm wanting to check out when Path of Exile's new league, aka season, starts up next week. Or not next week, like 2 weeks from now, actually. I believe it's exactly 2 weeks from now, actually, is when it starts. So I'm looking forward to checking out that and being able to get into all the games, because I've getting into Diablo 4 and then being able to experience something new, because it's a great kind of game that I could just turn on and just play while also doing other, like chatting with other people, because it's not necessarily a story driven game. And so I have a lot of fun with it. And so I'm looking into getting into Path of Exile, and then seeing the Path of Exile 2 stuff I think is really interesting. And, there's all sorts of other little details that was revealed. But that was the big stuff that I found really cool, especially the whole thing all being the focus on it all being on the same platform and 2 different games. I feel like is huge.
Now, yeah. Now, what about in-game currency? I wonder.
Probably not as much, but yeah. I'd assume premium currency can apply to both and can be used on either game.
That would make sense, yeah.
Which is really cool. So I like what they're saying here. And then they're talking about some of their classes. So, for example, it looks like we have 7 confirmed classes. Interesting thing with classes is certain classes are around different attributes. So like strength and intelligence is around the Templar or the Druid. Dexterity, you has all about the Ranger or the Spear focused Huntress. And then you have Dexterity in it, which is focused on the Shadow or the Monk. They also revealed a new Sorceress. So right there is 7 different ones. And then they also talked about somewhere to where after you get to a certain point with your character then has options to branch off in between like 3 different whole ability trees that like you choose one to focus on building out in its whole own different branches of stuff.
Yeah, I remember seeing the ability tree stuff and it's like
ability
it was a little
trees
overwhelming.
and Path of Exile, if you don't know what you're doing, is very overwhelming.
Yeah,
Path of Exile is one of those things that like you need to know what you're building before you get into it. Or else you're going to be like, what do I click? Because it's like, it literally looks like a giant cobweb on your screen.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, they're talking about lots of stuff here. Over 100 bosses in the game. All sorts of new crowd control mechanics, and all sorts of other little stuff. And they have a new resource called Spirit, dedicated resource that could be used for ongoing effects. So that'll be interesting to see. Will be very interesting because what I've heard is Path of Exile is like the more complex version of Diablo, and that's why a lot of people really like it. Is because you get to delve into so much more of this mechanic-y stuff as you go around and build up your stuff and characters, and just go in and just run around and kill whatever the threat is. I don't know if it's what the threats are in Path of Exile, but yeah, very excited as for what's to come from Path of Exile, and lots of news that came from the ExileCon. But you know what's something coming up later this month?
And it's actually funny because we had a comment earlier from Austin. He said, I'm very excited by that Fable trailer from a while ago, is what he said, which leads us perfectly into our next topic, right?
Next is Gamescom.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just looking at that here.
Or we could start with what are we playing and then go into that. Or did we decide we were going to do that afterwards? I can't remember.
I was saying after, so we'll just go ahead and get into it. Xbox at Gamescom 2023, which is coming up very soon. Actually, I didn't realize how close this was.
It's normally like right here around August.
It's usually like the last weekend in August, which it is, the 24th to the 27th.
Which it is.
It always is.
So
it is.
End of August is going to be very busy.
So they're focusing on a lot of games here. Like just me scanning through this list, they're focusing on a lot of things. They're showing off Starfield, Forza Motorsport, Aura History Untold, Towerborn, Elder Scrolls Online, Microsoft Flight Sim for you, Patrick.
Woohoo! We might get our first look at that Dune expansion because that's coming in November.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that could be really cool.
So I hope we get they'll show us more in-depth look at that Dune stuff. That
could be really cool. That'd be the one thing I'm excited for.
Called, Spencer? Is it Ornithopter? Is it
Ornithopter? Something like that. Yes.
Yep.
But something that strikes out to me is.
But they make a whole. Didn't they make a whole Arrakis for it?
I think there's
like
an area
section for you to fly in.
Yeah, a whole Arrakis section.
Yeah, like a whole area of Arrakis for you. It sounds awesome.
That's really cool.
A game that stands out to me is that Stalker 2 is here.
Yeah, still I saw that. I did see that they were going to be there. Yes, that's going to be fantastic. That's good for them. They're dealing with obviously a lot, being in Ukraine.
Yes.
But fantastic. We're going to get to see the game. I'm intrigued to see some Phantom Liberty because of Idris Elba.
Lots of stuff.
And more Keanu Reeves, obviously. And hopefully he's there because he's breathtaking.
I hope he comes on stage and they're like, "You're breathtaking, Keanu."
No, you're breathtaking. And it'll probably get me motivated to want to install it back on my Xbox again. And
I need to play through it. Now that's all fixed too.
Yes, exactly.
At least for the most part.
Yeah, another game that's on here that definitely intrigues me is Lamplighters League. It's a kind of a XCOM-ish, Midnight Suns-ish, without the cards, but Indiana Jones-ish style game where your crew is basically treasure hunters and stuff. So that gaming, and it's Paradox, makes great games. They made Stellaris. They publish great games. They publish great games. They're more the publisher, and they're still the publisher of Bloodlines 2. I'm still very excited for that game. It's in limbo, unfortunately. If you've ever played Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 1 on PC, fantastic game. Fantastic game. You can still pick it up on GOG. they're making a second one. But so that's a game I'm excited for. But then the next game that you and I are really excited to see is Lightyear Frontier. I think that's gonna be.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that because it's a whole survival game. We're in like mech suits.
Yes.
Of sorts, and so it looks a lot of fun. I mean, just this whole other thing, like there's so many games that you didn't mention here that are just such a solid lineup. Payday 3, Jusant, or what I know Gio's really excited for, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon.
Yes, Party Animals is gonna be there. Oh,
once we get a maybe we can actually get a release date for that game.
Yeah,
I'm excited for Party
that'll be
Animals.
so fun for
Animals with
Christmas.
guns. Fuck
Hopefully
yeah,
before
Animals
Christmas.
with guns, man.
Quantic Dreams Under the Waves.
That looks like a really cool game. You've seen that game, right? It's basically an underwater. Completely. It looks really peaceful to play, and there's a whole story to it.
We'll see what happens.
The Persona 5 Tactics game, SteamWorld Build,
Lamplighters League, SteamWorld Build.
So
and then there's several days where you can actually tune in and watch a lot of it from like all day long to see if there's anything that happens. So we'll see what announcements could come for those games. Hopefully some dates with some stuff. I know Lightyear Frontier got delayed into next year.
Yes.
But hopefully we get some good details on that.
Now, did you say Forza? Is Forza going to be there?
Yeah.
Forza Motorsport? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you said that.
Yeah, like Starfield and Forza Motorsport are like headlining it. I think those
are the two. They're the two that are really going to be pushing.
Starfield, they're going to show more stuff on that.
Starfield is that's
because it's going to be like
it'll be at a week later. Well, 4 days before you can get early access and the deluxe edition.
Yeah.
You know they're going to drop something special just for that event, like for everybody who's tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely watch. There's going to be probably Game Pass perks and things like that.
Do you think they do like a Twitch loot drop or something like early before the game comes out?
They might for some sort of cosmetic. Absolutely, I could definitely see it for Gamescom. There's a contest. There's contest that says don't miss out on the PC Game Pass challenge. Offers participants a fun opportunity to win thousands of exciting prizes, including PC Game Pass. So it looks like you have to be there, I think, for that. Unfortunately,
in-person thing.
Yeah, it's an in-person thing. It looks like so. But whatever.
EU residents only.
Yeah,
need to play.
Well, because here's like the booth. You can actually see what's playable there.
That's okay. Yeah, we have so many American and Canadian sweepstakes. It's like they're always told they can't win. They can't win something.
Oh, there's FanFest trivia stream is August 23rd. So there is a FanFest stream, trivia stream on
that'll be
interesting.
Fun.
August 23rd at 8:30 p.m. CEST, which is 11:30 a.m. Pacific. So
and that's going to be
p.m.
rough.
your time.
It's going to be really rough with no Major Nelson there because he's retired.
Has he retired yet, or is he retiring at the end of this year? I thought
he was at the end. Maybe it was at the end of the year.
I think it's at the end of the year.
I thought I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know when he is. That's a good question.
Because I know FanFest is his. That's his meat and potatoes. Is FanFest. And whether it was for a direct Microsoft event or it was Gamescom or E3, like around E3 time, like when they rushed that in, like Major Nelson was all over FanFest. They really pushed him into that. So. If he's there, cool. I'm all for it. But if he's not, it'll be a little bit of everyone will miss him.
Sure.
I don't see.
Well, it's like when Reggie left Nintendo.
That was the end of an
era.
That was the end of an era.
Was the end of an era.
That was the end of an era.
That's for sure.
Mr. Nintendo DS.
Yeah. But now they have Bowser, so it's cool. So they found the perfect replacement. Bowser's running the show, so they found the perfect replacement.
They even make some jokes about that every now and then too,
Absolutely,
which is great.
They always
do. Bowser's at the great. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. How do you think that job interview went? Like he just had his resume with his last name in like 100-point font. Yeah. He's like, it speaks for itself, guys.
Like, what did he do before Nintendo? He did something.
He was somewhere else, like higher up, though. I know that for sure.
But did you guys see around like the Tears of the Kingdom when it released at like the Nintendo store in I think it was in New York City? Doug Bowser actually showed up, and he bought everybody in line like food while they were waiting. And he came out He took pictures with people who just wanted to grab pictures with him. Like if they wanted a quick selfie with him,
That's crazy.
he was all for it, and he was like just hanging out with all the people. So he's like one of the really down to earth CEOs who's like willing to go out and hang out with the fans.
VP of Global Demand Planning at EA from 2007 to 2015, then joined Nintendo 2015 as the VP of Sales and Marketing, and then was promoted to Senior VP of Sales and Marketing mid 2016, and then of course when Reggie left, he became CEO.
Nice. I mean, that's a pretty solid background there.
Absolutely. The EA background from 2007 to 2015, EA was still solid. A
lot of seems like it was a good. He seems like he knew when to dip.
Yeah, 100%.
I will say that
for sure.
He was there during the best
2015. He left right before. Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but and he left right before Battlefront 2. 2017.
He got out before the loot box.
He did. Absolutely.
He knew when to leave. Anyway, that's.
He was there probably. Well, I don't know. Maybe not for the first one. He might have left before the first one even.
Yep.
Because the first one came out in 2015 with EA. Which, looking back on it, that first one was still a fun game, even without a story mode. But that second one really, they hammered that home. Even with the loot box issue, I will say the story definitely redeemed.
Now it's a really good game. But speaking of games,
fantastic. Yeah.
Speaking of games, guys, let's talk about what we've been playing over this past week. Yeah?
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Yeah, because yours is never going to change.
I've literally played the same shit since last week. It's been Call of Duty Black Ops.
Give us something besides Call of Duty Black Ops. Give us something different, man. Come on.
I've literally not played.
I know, but you've played something else besides Call of Duty Black Ops, so you could give us.
I played Arma.
There you go. Yeah, you didn't talk about Arma last week. Yeah,
that's right. I didn't talk about Arma last week. So yeah, I did play Arma. I've been playing a little bit. There's been 2 different servers I've mainly been playing on there. There's one that's a little bit more milsim-ish, where you're running around, capturing objectives, and you're really getting into some fierce combat. It's very militaristic, U.S. versus the Soviet Union on the small island, and it's been fantastic because some of the big battles we've been in, you're fighting over an entire town and there's just bullets flying everywhere. It's fantastic. And then the other one I've been playing is a role-playing server where you just run around and you get to create your own persona, and you get into some of the craziest hijinks. And just a quick story I'm going to share. I was trying to rob a guy. And he had a supply truck. I was trying to get him to pull over. Little did I know this guy had an M16. He jumped out. He's like, "Oh, you want me to pull over, huh?" And then I pulled my pistol out, and we were in full role-playing mode. We were diving in head first. We stayed in character the whole time. It was amazing. I was like, "Get on the ground, mother effer!" And then he said the same thing back at me. He was, "I'm not getting down. You're getting down." And then we just started shooting at each other. And needless to say, I died. It did not end well.
Okay.
But for roleplay purposes, fantastic. Lots of fun.
It's funny because sometime in this last week, we were on a call in between me, Chris, and Patrick all together, and he was playing this roleplay, and we couldn't hear the game for the most part, but we heard everything he said to them. Yeah. Well, we were just making conversation, and he starts talking with the people in the game. And there's some funny lines that was brought up. And so I was like, what the heck?
It was like he was talking to himself. It was hilarious.
It was.
And there was a few times they were trying to talk. I wasn't even doing anything. I'd be just driving down the road, and they're sitting there trying to talk to me, and I was just absolutely ignoring them just to see how they would react. And I remember you guys were like, "Does he even hear us?"
Too focused on his game.
No, I was just rolling with it. I just wanted to see how you guys were gonna react.
All right.
I'm gonna go last because it ties into the first other.
Yeah. So, last week I mentioned the Elden Ring FPS mod. That's mainly what I have been playing. But to go with the last game, I already went into it last week, so I won't reiterate. You have to go back to that last episode if you missed it. shameless plug. No. But aside from that, like really, that's been most of my time. But the last game I played was the I guess still NBA 2K23. One thing I really enjoy about that game is a lot of the sim options in it. So like even going into the my career and where you essentially like create your own character and go through their career, you have some really cool options. And what I like doing is trying out new builds. So like my first character that I did, whenever I do my first character, I always try to do it as close to me in real life. I do my same height, my same weight, and I try to make him as realistic as possible. But then for my second character, I'm like, okay, let's go the complete opposite. Let's make a damn near 7-footer.
They're hard to play with.
I essentially made him like a Dirk Nowitzki build.
Those are really hard to play as.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I think it helps you get better at different positions rather.
Yeah,
because I typically play point guard in basketball, and then so this guy's a power forward. So I was like learning how to play in the post and learning how to do a whole bunch of different stuff that I typically wouldn't do. So I find that really cool. And then you can kind of create like a little backstory for your character and like, give them the different emotes and stuff like that. So I always find that fun. And then, yeah, if I'm not doing that, maybe the odd time I'll go into like a what do you call it? Like a season mode, and then just try to see like how you can shaft the other teams with trades.
Yeah.
you can come up with
a trade machine. It tells you if it's approved or not.
It's so great. You can be like, you can totally trick them into doing these ridiculous trades they never do in real life, and then just build this epic super team. But I mean, I guess it depends on your settings in the game, what they'll agree to and what they won't, mind you. But you can come up with some really fun experiences, even if you're not totally into that. So. Yeah,
Gia, we should totally have you do like a role-playing stream where you just roll like all of that into, because that could be really entertaining.
Do everything by dice rolls, you mean?
No, not by dice rolls necessarily, but
just role play as your player.
That character.
Well, yeah. So it's funny you bring that up, because during the pandemic there was this guy. His name online was Coach Doug's, I think. And he played college football, and he blew up. And he played a coach, and he would like go to different teams. Every time he would go to a different team in the game, he, did this whole thing like he was really going to the school and really going to be their coach. And eventually he got picked up by Barstool Sports. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah, and so yeah, do it. I'm all for. I tried to get Kev to do stuff like that, and he didn't want to do it. But I'm all for doing like role playing sports stuff, like coaching and.
Oh, there's some really funny stuff you can do.
I'm down. You guys to be your coach. I'll be your coach, Gio. I'll yell at you.
Yeah, there's some really cool YouTubers who do some stuff like that too. There's one guy who will come up with a new scenario like every day, and he'll just do like a 3-hour simulation of what that would end up like. So like he there's a few people who do that, but I know one guy that I've watched a few times that does some cool simulations like that. So there's a lot of stuff that it opens you up to be able to do creatively, which is fun.
Oh yeah, nice.
Spencer, what have you?
Nice. Seems like a fun time. Yes. So as far as what I've been playing, there's a few things that come to mind. I think I've mentioned 2 of those 3 last week. I've been grinding a bit in Diablo 4. I've been getting several objectives done, trying to do all the seasonal stuff as I come across it, like the seasonal challenges that's in the game. So I'm pretty happy with my progress by then, and I've definitely been putting in time into that. I've also been putting a bit of time into Fortnite as well. I now have Optimus Prime, the main level 100 skin, so I'm very happy about having Optimus Prime, who looks amazing in Fortnite, and now working towards his battle damaged version. But last week I also teased a game that I started on playing, but I didn't get far. Now I'm like a third of the way through that game now, and that is Final Fantasy VII Remake, to where I have really been enjoying that game, and it's been really awesome so far, even with just being, from what I hear, is like the first third of the story. And I've really great cinematics, It's so amazing visually. The combat feels really nice. It's such a nice mix of being in a ARPG with also being able to pause and do all your spells or items and whatnot. I like how they are able to mix in that. So it's the whole thing of not being able to spam, say, being able to do spells or use potions, right? It's not like Skyrim where you could just pause and instantly fully heal up. You can only have so many actions that you could do, depending on how much like of this bar you build up. And so, but yeah, I've really been enjoying Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah.
Now, do you dig that as like a tabletop player where there's like limited actions? Like as kind of like a battle phase like that?
Well, not necessarily as a tabletop player, but I really enjoy of knowing that originally it being another kind of game to where it's turn-based.
Yeah.
It's kind of that idea to where you can only do that healing every so often, right? I can't instantly heal back up when I get hit. No, we have to wait and decide, okay, do I want to use an attack? Or don't want to heal my character at this said point.
Just like at the turn-based, yes.
It's very
like
strategy.
I like it, yes.
While also having that whole action bit too in between. So it's a really nice feel of combat. Like it feels really nice. And I've really been enjoying the voice acting has been great as well. The characters in it are really good. Like I've known a lot about it, but I've never gotten super deep into Final Fantasy VII. Like I've tried playing the original, just not much. But yeah, that's why I've been mainly playing is Final Fantasy VII Remake, in addition to a lot of Diablo 4 and Fortnite. What about you, Chris? What have you been playing?
Well, let me first start by saying I did beat my pick of the week from last week, The Return to Monkey Island. I did beat it, so I am ready for Sea of Thieves. Now I am ready for that, but I have not been playing that. I've been grinding a lot of baseball. I'll just go in. I didn't really talk about it last week because there's the way that MLB the show is run is they do seasons, and every season there's different cards, and this year's very different where they're doing sets per seasons too, and like set 1 you use set 1 cards and core cards. Set 2 you can use set 2, set 1, and set core, but set 3 you can only use set 3, set 2, and core. So, like, you limit what cards you can use. But I've been using all set 3 cards because I've been grinding to get this one card, which is a card that plays all 9 positions. So, and it's good. His player is good. And this is a real player. I'm going to show him to you guys. And I'm not saying anything that you can't be said. Just to preface that by saying he is a Negro League player. The Negro Leagues were a league back in the day that it's very historical. It's a commonly talked about. These players were amazing. Sandy Koufax. This player's name is Martin DeHigo. I had never heard of this player before MLB. Bravo to MLB, this show. They have actually videos, like you do the moments, and they have educational videos about these players. I learned about this player, and I was like, man, this player's really good. This is insane. He played all 9 positions well. You don't have anybody that does that ever. Ever.
Yeah, talk about a unicorn.
All around jack of all trades.
Jack of all speed, hitting, fielding, pitching. It's insane. And
how is he not talked about more?
How is he not talked about more? It's a crime that these players are not talked about more. So bravo to MLB The Show for highlighting these players. Now, the original card of this, when I first learned about this player, was only a 90 overall rating. And then in set 3, they did this thing where you have to collect a certain amount of cards, and he was one of the ones that you get to choose on set 3. And so he was the first one I chose. And it was hard for me because one of the players is an Orioles player that you can choose. And so I chose this other player because of how good he is.
So torn
over Adley Rutschman, who is, I'm not going to lie, guys, Adley Rutschman is the reason I am back interested in baseball, back interested in the Orioles, back interested in following baseball again after having to leave my baseball career and my career in the baseball industry, not playing baseball, but in the sport business side of it. And it was hard for me to watch baseball, be around baseball. Last May, they called up this kid. He was rookie.
Now, do you know where he's from?
He went to Oregon State University, and he was the number 1 overall pick a couple years ago, and since he has been called up, in baseball they do series, you know, so 3-game series, 4-game series, sometimes 2 games. Since he's been called up, the Orioles have not been swept. Over a year, and the Orioles have not been swept in a series. It's incredible. It's all because of this kid. So anyway, yeah, but it was hard to not choose him first. But just like this player, look at that pitcher, catcher, first base, second base, third base, shortstop, left field. Like you don't see that ever. So I was grinding, and I got that card, and I'm very excited that I got it. And I've been using it, and he's fun to use. He hits well, he pitches well. It's lots of fun. So I've been grinding baseball. I'm going to continue grinding though, so I can get that Adley Rutschman card because go O's.
Yes, sir.
Who lost tonight, but oh well.
That's a bummer.
We're not getting swept though because we won the first
good.
2 games of the series. So anyway,
that's nice.
Yes.
So that has been all of our. What have we been playing this week? However, during this last bit of the show, we'll just cover some other news here and there. And so, let's get right into this first one. As far as one of my favorite toy companies out there, McFarlane Toys, they're bringing back a line known as McFarlane Sports Picks, and it returns starting with NHL figures. Which, Patrick, I believe that's right up your league, right?
If they drop some Canes figs, I might have to spend a little bit of money.
So I think they mentioned.
Are they doing like legendary players, or are
yes.
they doing like
yes? They
players?
start. So I saw Ovechkin. Okay. Well, not it started out in the video that I saw, and actually there's a link to it on the tweet right here.
It's the announcement.
It's the announcement. It showed Ovechkin, Crosby.
Okay, so it is current players.
Yes, it's current players right now.
I thought he said. I thought I heard him say Gretzky, but then I didn't see him up there. So
maybe he said Gretzky too. Connor McDavid was the other that was there.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, how can you not do a Gretzky figure?
Yeah.
You know.
So, let's see. Well, you can even watch the Instagram real quick.
Are they doing a?
Yeah.
I'm. Now, are you a Leafs fan by chance, Gio?
Is he not?
I used to be. I don't really follow NHL anymore to be honest. Okay. But yeah, like in the 90s, like I was just talking to Chris about this before the stream, where like Felix Potvin, he was my favorite goalie at the time when he was playing for the Leafs. So I was a fan then, and then and then I kind of became a big fan of the Avalanche when they were having their big rivalry with the Red Wings, and like. I think it started in like 96 or so. I can't remember, but anyway,
yeah. There for a while. They got that rivalry between them and Detroit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 96. Oh, the Avalanche. Yeah, 96. Red Wings series. Yes, that was 96.
So yeah, that's. So yeah, I was, but yeah, just to say, lately, I probably wouldn't know majority of the players. Just to be honest.
Okay, because I know Austin Matthews. He's like the big guy at. So I'm wondering if they're doing just captains, that might be a thing. Like it
depends. I don't know.
Off, and then because there's a few guys I would want to have as figurines, definitely that aren't team captains. You know,
absolutely.
Now, if you look back at some of the older figures that they've done, it's kind of like a who's who of. So you know what I mean? Like it makes sense that they would go for players like that.
Yeah, because they're gonna sell high. Because they're legendary players. Of course, they're going to do those first. It makes business sense.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot where it was, they do the legends, of course, the obvious picks, and then there's some that are like not necessarily the greatest, but they're just a elite tier player who. So yeah, that would make sense if they did something like that.
It would be cool if they did something like Hasbro. When Hasbro there for a little bit was doing the thing where you could scan your face digitally and put it on whatever toy.
Cool.
Like they did there for a little while. It'd be really cool if you could do that with your face and you could turn yourself into like an NHL player for a figurine. Because if they do something like that, I'm gonna put my face on like a Kane statue.
So the tough thing, you would have to do that. I would be intrigued if the NHL would want to do something like that.
That's a good
that
thing.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah, because it's all about branding.
It's
also.
all about
like,
licensing is what it's all about.
That too,
it's licensing, and they don't want you buying a figure of you. They want you buying a figure of their players.
But they'll sell you a jersey with your name on it.
Yeah,
well, there's two parts to that. So there's two parts to that. So one is the player usually gets some kind of cut out of it if it's their likeness, right? And then, like you said, that happens with the jerseys too.
Yeah.
But the other aspect of it is the fact that, you know, in the internet age, we're gonna have people trolling the hell out of that, right? Like if you could put any face you wanted on there, who knows? Like
send a picture of Hulk Hogan.
Or Macho Man Randy
The
Savage.
Hulkster's coming at you with a hockey stick, brother.
You know, somebody would like take that up to Hulk Hogan and be like, "Hey, can you sign this for me?" He'd be like, "What the hell is this?"
But what this does is it intrigues me on, like we were talking about. Gio was just talking about how past figures they've done for other sports. So I hope this does well, so that they will do again future other sports. So in the reason I wanted to go
MLB
last
line
on,
would be huge.
well, and that's the thing is back in 2019, Spencer? No, what year was it?
Yes, 2019.
2019. Okay, MLB The Show 2019, when it was still just on PlayStation, Sony and McFarlane Toys did a collaboration of baseball figures. There's like 6 of them, right, or something like that, 6 or 7. Like
yeah, a handful like that.
Yeah,
I don't think they're quite 8, but around 6, I'd say.
6, I think. Yeah, and so batting stances. Like that's the cool thing about baseball is batting stances are so unique with different players that it would be so cool for baseball. Like you said, Patrick, with the batting stances, pitchers, leg kicks, and things like that. Hockey.
I wonder if they're going to do this with hockey in terms of
slap
like
shots,
you know,
and
slap shot,
body
or if
checks.
there's like a certain. Or the way they typically might lean if they're moving with the puck.
Yeah,
they could do something like that, like in motion.
Yeah, in basketball, you could have dunk motions on like a pedestal. You know, you could have like Jordan doing the dunk, or
for hockey goalies, like how do they
saves and stuff?
Goal,
yeah, crazy saves and stuff. Exactly.
And if there's like a legendary moment, you know, they're gonna try to immortalize that. In
like
statue,
NFL crazy catches and tackles,
crazy catches,
and
or the way a quarterback poses.
Yeah, throwing. Exactly. Heisman pose. Deion Sanders doing the Heisman pose would be fantastic.
That would sell like hotcakes.
That would sell like hotcakes, especially because Deion Sanders is relevant again. He's the coach of the University of Colorado football team. So he is relevant again, and so that would sell huge.
And he'd get a big check. You know, he'd get a big
absolutely.
Check out
of course he would. Yeah. So. No, it's a cool topic. Good for McFarlane for branching out the more.
And good for sports.
I do like seeing all the different things McFarlane does because they do branch out and do a fair bit of stuff.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
They don't just make Spawn figurines, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Right. Their biggest thing they're known for nowadays is having a license with DC, of where they've been pumping out so many DC figures. But lots of other stuff.
That's good business for them.
Yeah. But I guess jump across the pond from DC to the big competitor Marvel. We have is in this last week it was the art book for concept art book for Spider-Man No Way Home was released, where we've been seeing all sorts of new images here that's been coming out, and there's some interesting highlights that's been circulating around the internet as far as possible designs for characters and just really different ideas that they had for No Way Home. And so it's really interesting to see how different No Way Home could have been. And I think honestly, overall, after seeing a lot of this stuff, it makes me happy No Way Home went the direction they did.
Agreed. The first picture I have up is the symbiote Spider-Man. If you want to,
that's a big one. Yeah, so that's really big. Seeing that, for if you know the movie, obviously, the only thing of the symbiote is that's the post-credit scene is that there is now one in the universe. I know
from a different universe.
Yes,
right, from a different universe, right? The Venom verse, and so
which we think is
really
possibly the Garfield verse.
Potentially,
no.
Possibly. Hopefully. Come on.
Oh, I just got what you meant. I thought you meant Garfield the cat.
Meow, bitches.
Yeah.
It's gonna be I hate Mondays.
Yo, please give me Garfield versus Venom now. That needs to happen.
Well, hey, here's the thing.
Book
If you guys don't remember this, there used to be a novel series that Garfield starred in where they were superheroes.
Yes.
So this was it was kind of geared towards like I don't know, teens or like like a younger audience, right? It's not a super
Coburn.
Hey, Venom days. That's funny. But yeah, there was totally a superhero team with Garfield, Normal, Odie, like the whole crew. They were all superheroes. I remember it.
Yeah.
So I was a big fan of those for a little while.
I loved those.
That's funny. I hadn't even thought about them in years until now.
There we go.
That's hilarious.
Next image I have up is
I'm suddenly craving lasagna.
Is Iron Man Goblin.
Yeah, so this is the other thing is there's a couple different designs here for Green Goblin that this one's a more interesting one, kind of more in line as far as the intentions that he had in the movie. Because remember, he's trying to find Oscorp, but he finds out that that's not the main company anymore. Instead of Stark Industries in this universe.
Yep.
And so seeing him have the idea to where he's actually enhanced by Iron Man armor, and then he'll also see him use a Mysterio drone is interesting, which is also a part of that Stark tech. And so that's very interesting. Glad they didn't do that though. Like him gliding around on one of the Mysterious drones would have been stupid, and then being like an Iron Man whatever .0 would have been stupid.
Weird, yep.
But I'm glad the way the other one, thank God they didn't do.
The Dark Elves one.
Because it's like, who wants this? Who wants a Green Goblin connected to something that's even like technological? You know, like the Stark one, sure, there's story reasons fine, even though it's stupid. But like, why would you want Dark Elf? But the reason is because of design reasons, as far as those being more goblin-like. So they try to figure out ways to mix it up. But I'm glad they did their own thing with more of a damaged version, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the reasoning behind that was like it didn't make much sense because that does not look more goblin-like, at least in my opinion. So it's like the original costume. You could say it's dated at this point because it's almost like 20 years old, but it still looked like a goblin. You can't argue that.
Yeah. And that's right. The main reason why they got rid of the mask and to have the whole emotions too and all that. So
Dark Goblin elf on a shelf. Yes, man.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I love it. I love it.
Somebody clip this, please. Oh my god. Oh, you trying it? Did it work? Oh my god.
Oh man. But anyway, that's another thing. What else do we have as far as concept art pieces go?
Yeah, Doc Ock, my favorite one.
Oh yeah, seeing a comic book accurate Doc Ock. You know, I should have found a picture of this too, but we also saw a circulating around. There was also a picture of Lizard in his like lab coat and purple pants too. So that would have been cool to see too.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do like though at the end they decided instead of going with these comic accurate looks, which that looks great by the way.
It does.
Is the I do like though that is more of a celebration of what they were from versus trying to make it into their own suits and all that. Which I appreciate.
Then there was Electro.
Then there that.
The million looks of Electro.
There's 7.
That's kind of weird.
7.
I know, but in this scenario, there's a million.
That's I'm glad we didn't get that. I guess.
Big question is, will Jamie?
At least they made Electro good in that movie. You know, like he was
so bad in the.
I mean, what was good in that movie, but
nothing.
You know.
The last scene with Paul Giamatti running. I am the Rhino! Because that's going to be a better... Although I think the Rhino we're going to get in Craven will be better.
I find it crazy they delayed that movie by like a year from now.
Well, strikes and stuff, right? Oh, it's already done, though.
Well, it's all filmed. It's all done.
I don't know.
It's because of the strikes.
But anyway, let's not delve into all that, because that's a whole other debacle. But yeah, lots of interesting No Way Home art here. I always think it's interesting to see what movies could have been, what ideas went through the process, and in this case, it makes me really happy with the product we got, because I think it's a lot better than what all these images show.
Yeah,
especially with Goblin, who was one of the many highlights of that movie. So yeah.
Yep.
So yeah. And let's go ahead and go on to the next.
Oh, and then Cracking Backs. That was the highlight of that movie too.
Cracking Backs.
And then I love you guys.
So what's interesting is this next one.
Go to the question first. I have that up.
They actually updated that, huh?
Oh, did they?
On the thing, yeah.
So, I see.
So, yeah. So, related to San Diego Comic-Con at the Hasbro show floor, there is a question asking, is it possible to re-release the Activision Transformers games to coincide with Gamer Edition? Which I guess is something that they're putting out in the toy line, maybe? I don't keep up with Transformers toys, I know. I'm the collector guy here.
It's big for collectors, though. They love collecting their Transformers.
Well, it's a edition, so I think it's about some sort of Transformers line of figures that they're doing.
Probably,
but
yeah.
Anyway, when asked about this, their original response was saying, sadly, apparently Activision's not sure what hard drives they're on in their building. When a company eats a company, and that company then eats a company that eats a company, things get lost. And that's very frustrating. Hope is that now that the deal moving forward with Microsoft and Xbox will go through all the archives and every hard drive to find it all, because it's an easy Game Pass ad. We want those games back for the people to have a chance to play. And then apparently
day one.
Wait, let me go to the article first. So there was an update because
so there's from somebody who was it exactly that made that?
Video Games Chronicles.
Who said who said that?
Oh, who said it? Who said the actual question?
In a statement to VGC, the company apologized to Activision, saying comments were made in error. So then they just come back and then said, to clarify, comments that suggest Transformers games have been lost or made in error. That this official statement reads, we apologize to Activision. Well, they're saying that they actually know where the games are. That's all. He says, we apologize to Activision and regret any confusion. They've been great partners.
Bob Kokit.
We look forward to future opportunities together.
Kotick.
So it sounds like what happened there is like one guy didn't know where they were, and then when he was interviewed about it, or when he was asked about it in that case, he's just literally was honest. And then this is where like a story blows up, and then everyone's like, "Oh my god, they don't know where the games are," and it's like it wasn't as big a deal as it sounded. At least that's what I took from it. I could be wrong.
So at the end of the article here, it lists the 4 Transformers games that that they've published: Transformers Devastation, Fall of Cybertron, Rise of the Dark Spark, and War for Cybertron. It says all those were published by Activision, but are unavailable to purchase digitally. Mm-hmm. Do they have digital versions up that say unavailable to purchase, or are they just not on the store at all?
I'll find out for you right now.
I didn't think about this when going into it, because I find it because some games there's licensing issues to where they have that versions up, but you can't. Like the biggest one that I would like to get someday is the Lego Lord of the Rings, and there's a point to where they had to take off Lego Lord of the Rings and Lego Hobbit to where from the store to purchase, but it's still on the store.
They are still on the store.
All 4 of those.
I think so. Dang it, it disappeared. Hold on.
Yeah, and that was due to licensing issues, correct?
Yes. And I find it interesting that Lego Hobbit was brought back, but not Lord of the Rings, which is like the bigger of the two.
I have to imagine it would have been a little cheaper to get the Hobbit license.
Now, do you think that had something to do with the Amazon deal?
There's 3.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Fall, Cybertron, Dark Spark, and Devastation. What was the other one? You said
War for Cybertron.
That does not look like it's on here though. On Xbox.
Interesting. That's interesting because that's like the first one of those two. Like Fall of Cybertron is a sequel to War for Cybertron. Anyway, it's good that most of them are, so they'd only have to take some work to hopefully not too much work to port it, but if they did port it, like that'd be amazing.
It's crazy that Devastation isn't available because that's an Xbox One game, I believe.
Yeah, I don't even think that was that long ago, was it?
No, I didn't think so.
I bought that game cheap at GameStop one time. Like, it's a fun game, just really, really short.
It's single player, right? Yeah, it's a single player one, I believe.
So, but yeah, that's the Transformers stuff. So, I think I didn't even think about this being a perk of the Game Pass thing. Of the Activision Blizzard deal, to where if it does come through, this is a great perk because I love me Transformers. I actually do own War for Cybertron on PS3, and I've played a fair bit of it. Well, a little bit of it, and I really enjoyed it. And so I think it'd be awesome to have all those other ones on Game Pass at least.
I'm very excited for
why not
that
and
FPS
then,
Transformers game.
It could take advantage of that. What is it? The auto HDR or whatever for like the older titles to bring up the graphics a little bit, boost the graphics.
Yeah, there's a new Transformers game in the works.
They could FPS boost maybe up to 120 frames too.
So
we'll see what happens. We will see what happens in the future. So
next
up, I think we should just spend a few minutes talk about this, and then I'll quick fire through the last things I have listed, and then call it.
Yes.
You all good with that?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Almost at 2 hours. So let's just spend a few minutes talking about Loki Season 2 that came out.
So exciting.
Fantastic.
Or trailer, my bad. The trailer that just came out a couple days ago. I think we're all to say that we're all looking forward to seeing Loki and Mobius back, yeah?
Yes.
With your favorite villain of all time.
Oh God! See, that's the thing. That's why I'm mixed on this. Is like,
I don't know if he gonna be the main villain.
It's exploring the fallout of Quantumania is the thing. Yes. And that's what I'm not excited about because I hate the ending of that movie so much. Versus, but at the same time, it's like I'm happy these characters are back because I love Loki and Mobius. Man. And then we have that little. Then we see who. What's that actor's name that's back? Short Round. What's his name?
Oh yeah. Hey Quan.
Come on.
Oh, what's that?
Wait, something like that.
Is that it?
Shortiest Roundimus.
No.
Short Round.
Shortiest Round
actor. He's back. Anyway, he's in the at the end of the trailer. So he plays as K.Q. Kwan, right? Yeah. He plays the like the who did they call him, and who did they call the one who knows all? Is that or what's the person's name that they called King at the end? That one King.
He Who Remains.
He Who Remains. Thank you. They called he's like the He Who Remains main technician. Is who he is. Like he's the one that makes all the gadgets and stuff. So it's really interesting to see him in that role. He looks like a lot of fun. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the adventure that Loki and Mobius is going on, but I'm not looking forward to necessarily what it's all about because I just don't like the direction that the MCU is going in right now.
I hope they put him on a jet ski, man.
Put him on a jet ski.
I need Owen Wilson on water.
So he's gonna go on the jet ski, and maybe he'll go over a shark.
Mobius on the jet ski.
Yeah.
We got the Owen Wilson pop there.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, when I first started watching I just watched it before we started this, and when he showed up, I was excited. I thought that was great that they brought him in, for a role in this. I think that I was hoping that this season would be kind of what I wanted the first season to be, which is basically just Loki and Mobius just going on crime-solving adventures through time, right? That's all I really wanted of the first season. And it doesn't really look like they're going in that direction, but granted, this is a trailer. It remains to be seen, you saw the return of
it's the fallout of Quantumania.
Yes,
right?
And
we're seeing what happened to King, and I'm that's all I'm going to say.
Professor Space-Time. Wrong show.
So, yeah.
There we go. But, I guess they kind of had to follow up. Like, that was their whole goal. Nice. they had to follow up on what happened after the end of the first season, and that's their goal, right? Is to reach a climactic event where everyone fights Kang. So I guess it makes sense in that regard, but
it makes sense. It's just that how they're going, the direction of it is just not great overall.
I agree.
But yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I hope the adventure's good, even though we don't care about what it's all about. That's what I'm hoping.
There was those good moments in the first season, right, where you got those moments between the two of them, from time to time.
Overall, I thought the first season was pretty solid. Like, it might be the best MCU show, I think. I thought it was a really fun adventure, and I thought it was a great lead up to the He Who Remains, and then it was a great setup for Quantumania, honestly.
Yes, it was.
And then the ball got fumbled. I would say just a little bit, but that's a lie. Very much so. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens.
Agreed.
I will say, though, I do like how they left off with Ant-Man at the end of that movie. That was one of the redeeming things, where he's like questioning, like, "Hey, is everything all right? I don't know."
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Did I just do the entire universe?
All right.
No,
anyway,
it's all good.
Anyway.
Yes. That's all. Anyway, I'm just gonna spend a few minutes here to just mention a few other bits of news. Smaller bits of news that we didn't cover yet. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just cover rapid fire through these really quick, and then we'll see you all next week. So first off, there's supposedly rumors that Oblivion remake, or it could be more of a port, is happening. So that'll be interesting to see. An Oblivion remakes of sorts, especially with saying that could possibly come out around the same time that the fan-made Skyrim mod Sky Oblivion is coming out. So we will see what happens with that. In other gaming news, there's another crossover that's happening that I'm personally really looking forward to, in Dead by Daylight, and that is that Alien is crossing over into it. And so it's going to be cool to see a Xenomorph as an actual killer be in the game, like a horror franchise I actually care for, if you even count Alien as a horror franchise. But hey, Xenomorph is coming in Dead by Daylight. Can't wait for it. More details coming next week.
Aliens, like the Xenomorphs, as Nicolas Cage. It's going to be fantastic.
Well, you can't shoot them. It's all about surviving. Like, you have to find things and escape. Like, I'm going to escape against them.
That's true. You just got to run and hide.
You run, and the most you could do is you could try to stun them for a moment. By half the time, that doesn't work. But anyway, other news: Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 got announced. There's all sorts of leaked characters that's been coming out. So it pretty much combines the previous roster with a lot of new characters, and they're just improving upon the first All-Star Brawl. We've been seeing this tactic with the Game Mill company that's been coming out with all this. Like with the Nickelodeon All-Star Racing, instead of like making the game better, they just released a new version of the game. So that's what we're getting with All-Star Brawl 2, of where we're going to get massive improvements from the first one. Looking forward to it, because I enjoyed the first one, but definitely had some rough edges. So hoping lots of that gets ironed out with a bigger cast of characters. Including, like, I know Squidward's one of the big ones that's coming into this one, and Jimmy Neutron. And,
they got the handsome Squidward.
Other turtles, too. Donatello is in this game, my favorite turtle, who wasn't in the first game. So looking forward to that. And so, yeah, Nickelodeon Smash Bros. Is coming back bigger. And then the last one is famous actor Billy D. Williams is having his own memoir come out. I believe it's early next year.
I believe so, yeah.
And so,
what is the title? What have we here?
What have we here?
What have we here?
What he said, the famous line he says to Princess Leia.
What have we here?
Yeah.
What have we here?
Portraits of life.
Han, where have you been hiding her?
Next year. Yeah. Set to publish next year. So lots of stuff to look forward to. Lots of great topics we've talked about tonight. Anything else there?
Make sure if you missed last week's podcast, go over to YouTube if that's where you like to watch your VODs. And we just uploaded it today, so you can rewatch that. We're going to hopefully have some highlights from this one up on YouTube at some point, as well as the full episode will be on YouTube by Friday. So share it out for us, please. Once it's live.
Exactly.
Share our adventures.
Exactly.
Share our adventures.
Exactly. Exactly. But yes, as always, thank you for watching. If you want to see more of me, there's always my solo adventures over at the Dingus Den, where I've been doing some gaming stuff. There'll be another comic club sooner than later, where I'll finish up the discussion over Crisis on Infinite Earths. Such a massive discussion. I promise that'll be out sooner than later. But yeah, thank you everybody for stopping by. We had lots of great discussions covering all this, and we will see you next time here on Red Shirts Remastered.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Peace and love, everyone.